Hello everyone, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. So let's talk about the remaining part. But before that, I just wanted to know what is the progress of the second project. Let me open my Google Sheet. So Ramakant and group, what is the progress of the another project that is video game sales? Ramakant and group. Ramakant is not there. Yeah, this is used to happen now. I understand. But Rahul Jain, Bhargavi, Arushi, Krishna,
Sir, am I
are you there?
audible?
Yes, Krishna. What is the
Sir,
progress
we
of the
have
second
not
project?
started the project yet. Sir, I don't know what is wrong with the group, but usually no one discusses about anything. And like Bhargavi and Arushi, they don't never talk only.
Okay.
It's usually just me, Ram, and Rahul who are doing all the work. In the first project also, this was the thing. And in second project, we have not only discussed anything right now.
See, Krishna, I tell you, if no one is working, you should work. Because ultimately, right now, it is not used to happen that, see, ultimately, what will happen? You and uh, both of them will get the certificate, isn't? But whatever certificate you are getting, until and unless you are you don't have the knowledge, then that certificate won't have anything. Yeah, and the interviewer will easily recognize your work, whether you have worked on this project or not, because you can read the technical document, you can read each and everything, but that doesn't mean that you'll be able to answer each and everything until and unless you have not worked on the project. Okay, so this is their job. And if you three are working, just coordinate with each other. Might be that instead of working on the 10 hours, you may have to work for the 12 hours. But at least it is going to increase your learning. So don't be negative. Don't be disappointed. This is their job. If they don't want to learn, this is their job. Yeah. You just take your pain and take my word, this pain is going to give you reward in the future. Because
Okay, sir, I'll start
you
today.
please start. Yeah, you please
Yes, sir.
start and work on it.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And this Dipalian group, Dipali, your group has started to work on the another project, because on Tuesday I'm going to see the progress of the project. Please note it down. On Tuesday, see, because after this tomorrow there will be no class. On Tuesday there will be class, and on Tuesday I'm just going to see what is the progress. Okay, because if you see your syllabus, there's only what is the left now? That is, let me share my screen. Yeah, you see, only this data resampling we have left with. Otherwise, each and everything we have covered except this future aspect. Yeah. So I tell you that my entire focus will be towards the your project work. So on Tuesday, I'm going to discuss this project. On Thursday, I'm going to discuss this project. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And Sumit, please work. Please, everybody, start to work on the second project. So right now, I'm not going to knock each and every one, but on Tuesday, I'm going to see the project progress, because I have to wind up by the next week. And see, I can assure you that okay, if you guys have any problem, then we can meet in the future. That will happen, but that will again now be subject to availability of me and you both. Might be the time when you are free, I'm not. Might be that when you have the classes, I'll be free at that time only. But this time, what is happening? What is there? Me and you both are bound to meet at this time. So this is the appropriate time to discuss all the doubts, to discuss, about the project work. And see, you all are very learned. You all know each and everything, and you know that uh, whenever you'll be going for the placement, or when you'll be appeared in the interview, the main focus will be on the project. Yeah, and that could only be happen if you would have worked, because you have the 360 websites on the YouTube and Google. You just go and check what are the different interview questions on the machine learning, data science, each and everything, blah blah blah. You can come to know. Still, interview can easily catch you whether you have worked on, you have the practical knowledge or not. To be very frank and honest. Yeah. So please work on it, because you know that right now whatever topic we have to discuss, that is not related with any practical knowledge. Yeah. And even if that was not included in your syllabus, still you would have completed the AI. So it means the main important part that you're left with is just to complete your project. And why I'm insisting you again and again, because you know that mainly there are two kind of algorithm: classification and regression. If you have worked with the regression, so the kind of problem you can face while working on the regression, you may have seen. In the same way, when you work with the classification, so you should be knowing that what kind of problem you can face in this case, because discussing them in the classroom and facing them in the real are two different vertical. Okay, so please start to work on, and let's discuss on the Tuesday.
Sir,
Or let's do one thing, not on Tuesday, let's discuss on Thursday. Yeah, Tuesday we'll have some doubt clearing sessions. So far what we have covered, I'm just giving you one day. You just go and check what kind of doubt you have. Okay, everyone? Then on, after Tuesday, on Friday, I'm going to cover the last module. And then the remaining 2 days will be entirely focused on the project. Okay, everyone?
Okay, sir.
All right.
sir, also I need to know, this is group 4, sir.
Sorry?
This is group 4, Porish Gupta group, sir. We have to work on a regression part, we have to show, or a classification part also we have to show.
What you have worked so far?
So far, we worked on classification part, sir. We have done, sir.
Okay, you have done on the classification. So
Yes,
now
sir.
you have to work on regression.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. We have to show
Video
Tuesday
game,
itself
sir.
or Thursday.
Sorry?
We have to show the presentation on Thursday or Tuesday, sir.
Thursday.
Okay, sir.
All right. So let's talk about the sampling methods. Yeah. Let's talk about the sampling methods in this. So let's talk about the sampling technique. First of all, we should know why we do sampling. Why do we do this sampling? Anyone?
Sir, for transformation.
And
Sir, to obtain better results.
yeah, to obtain better result, just to do better prediction, I can say. Isn't? So what is sample? If I ask you what is sample, anyone? What is sample? Anyone? Can you say what is sample?
Sir, a small extract of something.
Sorry?
Sir, a small extract of something.
Exactly. Means, suppose you have very large data. Like if you remember, I told you that you just do df1 equals to df dot sample. Yeah. And I say that 20,000. So what you did from this data set, you took, and the data that was having, say, 2,87,000, for example. So out of this 2,87,000, you are taking randomly 20,000. And what you are going to do, you'll be applying some algorithm. And before that, I tell you, so this 20,000 will be what? It will be the sample. And this 2,87,000 is what? It is the population. Yeah. This is the population. Okay. So, what is the sampling technique? It is basically called as inferential statistic. What is the inferential statistic, everyone? Anyone, what is the inferential statistic? See, inferential statistics means you just take the sample, you just apply the job on the sample, you just apply some technique, some algorithm on the sample, and on the basis of that, you just make conclusion, you just make inferences about the population. Just like exit polls. What is this exit polls, anyone? Bharat, Sumit, Arush,
Predictions of
what? Sumit? What is exit polls? Anyone? In the exit polls, what happens? See, suppose that today the people have casted the vote. Yeah, voting has been done. Now, what will happen? Some agencies will try to take survey. They will just interact to the people who has given the votes, and on the basis of that, say that total 20 lakh people has done vote. They have casted the vote, and suppose they are from the 20 different area. So what will happen? The agency that is responsible to do the exit polls, they will just go in each area and they will just interact to few people. And they, by interacting to those few people, they will try to make some statement that who is going to win this in election. Yeah, it means they are not going to interact to all these 20 lakh people. They will be interacting with very few people in comparison to this. And on the basis of that, they will give you the conclusion that who is going to make the government. Yeah. So means you are taking a sample, you're taking some some data from the overall data, you are applying algorithm on it, and you are doing some conclusion to make decision about the population, miss entire data set. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just to draw the valid conclusion from your results, obviously you have to carefully decide that which sample and how you are going to select the sample, because somewhere on the basis of this selection, the sample which is the you can say that the sample is the representation or representative of your population. So deciding the sampling methods becomes very crucial. On the basis of the nature of the population, you will have to decide that which sampling method is important. Yeah. So when we are talking about the sampling methods, whenever we are talking about the sampling methods, then basically there are two sampling methods we use. And what is this? One is called as probability sampling, and another is called as non-probability. Okay. So when we are talking about the probability sampling, so I can say that here we try to have the random selection. Yeah. And when we say that this probability sampling involves this random selection, that means it is allowing you to make strong statistical inferences about the whole group by just doing a random selection. When we talk about this non-probability sampling, so here the sampling will be done on the basis of your convenience, or it will be done on the basis of certain criteria. Okay. And why you make some convenience, why you make some criteria? Because it's somewhere ease your data collection. Okay. So when we talk about this population versus sample, now can anyone tell me what is this population, what is this sample? Anyone? So I can say that this population is what? It's a entire group for which you want to make conclusion. And what is the sample? Sample is the specific group of individual that you have collected the data from. Yeah. And this population will be defined in terms of what? In terms of the conclusion that you have made on the sample. Okay. Yeah. And this population can be defined in terms of what? It can be defined on the on the example of the geographical location, or it can be on the basis of the age, it can be on the basis of the income, or any or many more characteristic. Yeah. That might be very broad, or that might be quite narrow. And if you want to make inferences about the whole population of your country, say, yeah, so how can you do that? You can do it on the so suppose, one second. So when we are talking about this analysis, and let's say that guys, give me 1 minute. Huh? Okay, so means, this is the population that you have. Okay, let's consider this as the head counts. Say that this is the population and you have the sample of it. You just took the sample of it. Now, what I mean to say that this is, let's talk about, say, India. This is our country. Okay, and we have this population, and what you took, you just took only you just took survey of some people. Yeah, and on the basis of that you can have the inferences. And I was trying to say that inferences can be a broad or the narrow. Narrow means you are doing some conclusion, you're on the any specific research. Broad means you're trying to do some conclusion in general. Yeah, for example, say that you're talking about the census. Yeah, or you may focus on the customer of a certain company. Yeah, or you might be talking about the health condition in India. So these are some narrow topic where you are trying to do analysis on a particular conditions. Yeah, so that is why whenever you work on the sample, whenever you work on the population, first of all, this is really very important to define your target population. Target population means where you want to work with. What is your area of research? What is the area of the finding? Yeah, and according to this criteria, you will be able to identify what is the purpose and practicality of the problem. Okay, so there's a term that pertains for the sampling, and that is called a sampling frame. Don't worry, I'll provide the notes for it. What is the sampling frame, everyone? Suppose that you just want to do some sampling. Okay, so what is the sampling frame? This sampling frame is basically the list. It is a list of all the features, as well as it is the list of all the observation that you are going to take in your sample. For example, say that you are going to work on some banking prediction. Okay, then if you have to have your data, okay, then for example, say that if you remember when we were working on this user underscore data, yeah, I told you that if you think that this gender will have statistical significance while determining the purchase, so you please include this. If you don't think that this will have any statistical significance to determine the purchase, ignore it. Yeah, so whenever we are trying to do the sampling frame means you are trying to make the list of features that you are going to include for your prediction, as well as you are just making the list of observations that you are going to make for the prediction. Okay, and for example, if I talk about the sampling frame, say you're working on the, or say that you have the research on the social media. Yeah, you're performing the research on the social media, and what is that? say that you are just trying to find out what is the working condition at a social media market company, for example. Yeah, or what is the working condition at any particular company. So how you are going to do? Obviously, this is not possible to interact with all the employee. Say that there are 1,000 employees in the company. Yeah, and even the best way, if you want to, so what you will do? If you have this 1,000 employee of the company, so from where you can get this sample? Your sampling frame is the company HR's database, and this database that you have, what it will be including? It will be including the list of the name of the employee, their age, their salary, and what? And say the contact details and many more features. Yeah. So this the data set that you're talking about, this Excel file that you're talking about, it is what? It is the sampling frame for your search. Okay, everyone. Now, let's talk about the another parameter, and that is called a sample size. That if you have the population and you need to decide the sample size, that how much sample or how many data should be taken as a sample out of the total data. So it will be depending upon the different factors, and one of the important factor is what? Variability. Variability means there should be the involvement of all the classes. There should be an involvement of the data related to all the classes for which you are going to do analysis. Yeah. So, and that for that purpose, and how you can be doing this calculation. So this will be depending upon your statistical analysis. It will be depending upon your sampling methods. The different sampling methods, they are in the probability sampling, or they are on the basis of the non-probability sampling. Okay. So when we talk about the probability sampling, in this probability sampling, means, what is the meaning of that? It means every member of the population will have a chance of being selected. There's a equal probability. Yeah, there's a equal probability. There's an equal possibility that every member of the population has a chance of being selected. So you can say that this probability sampling is basically dependent upon the quantitative search. And here, if you want to produce a result that are representative of the whole population, the probability sampling is the most suitable valid choice. Yeah, by taking some data, if you want to make conclusion for the entire data, you should go with the probability sampling. Yeah, so if somebody asks you that when to use this probability sampling, then you can answer them that, sir, if you want to produce the result that are the representative of the whole population, this probability sampling techniques are more suitable. And when we talk about this probability sampling, then this probability sampling is of four type. This probability of sampling is of four type. One is called as SRS, means simple random sampling. Okay, another is called as systematic sampling. And I tell you one thing, the sample that you took in the train test split, that was SRS. The third one is called as stratified sampling.
So that's why we were specifying the random state.
Ah. Smith. You know, sometimes we feel excited, no? That if any topic is discussed in the class and we know, that makes excite, you know? Yeah, so basically, you know, these are the three, even if not three, we can use another. Okay, tell me, Sumit, what is the next in this probability sampling? I have written the one letter of it. What could be the next sampling technique in this probability?
Sir, I don't.
ना तुम्हें तो बताना होगा दोस्त. सी मैंने लिख दिया है, सोचो. Cluster sampling. And you know, mostly we have heard about the simple random sampling. We might be knowing systematic, we might be knowing stratified, but very rare we see this cluster sampling. But we'll be discussing all the sampling here. So let's start with the first one, and that is what? That is the simple random sampling. So when we are talking about this simple random sampling, so if I have to define this simple random sampling, then what is the first definition? The first definition is that it is the it is the probability sampling. Yeah. So here, you know, when we talk about the simple random sampling, I can say that every member of the population has the equal chance of being selected. Yeah. Again, if I repeat it, every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. Okay. And you know, when it comes to this sample random sampling, here somewhere your expectation is that your sampling frame should include the entire population. Yeah, in your sampling frame, in the list of the observations, you should have the entire population. Yeah, and you know, just to conduct this kind of sampling, you can use the random number generator. You can use this random number generator. Or you can use any technique that will be based on the probability only, that will be based on entirely on the chance. Yeah. So that no one can claim that there is some partiality is being made here. Yeah. For example, say that you have the, say, 100 data. Okay. Out of this 1 to 100, you want to select randomly any 10. So means you cannot say that which number will appear in this list of 10. And there will be the equal probability for each number. Yeah. Okay. For example, say that say that out of this 18, right now we have the 18 participants. Out of this 18 participants, say that 10 participants will go for the internship in the Google. Yeah. And this selection could be made on the basis of the random selection. So when you are saying random selection, it means everybody will have equal possibility to being selected. But if you will make any criteria that, okay, only those, say that, who are female and they got 80% in the marks. So what is there? It means you are putting some criteria. So it will not be probability sampling, it will become non-probability. Now, let's talk about the systematic sampling. So is there any question related to system random sampling, everyone? So, for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Say that 10 numbers are there and we need to select out of this 10, 5. That 5 could be, say, 0, 1, 5, 7, 8, 9, for example, or 0, 1, 5, 7, 8. Or it might be 1, 3, 4, 7, 8. Or it might be any other number. So here, you have randomly taken the sample. There is no any particular pattern here. There is no any particular logic here. Randomly, you just picked any. That might be in the continuous fashion. That might be in any other fashion. But when we talk about the systematic sampling, although it is also a random sampling, to be very frank, this is also a random sample. But here, instead of doing the totally random, we can use some interval. You can use some interval. Okay. So that we can have the all variety. Yeah. And so we can say that instead of having the random generated numbers, here the individuals or the data point will be chosen on the basis of regular interval. Yeah. For example, say that we have the in the company, all the employees will be listed in the alphabetical manner. Yeah. They will be listed in the alphabetical order. And then say that from the first 10 numbers, you will randomly be selecting a, say that, suppose we have total 50 employees. And what we will do, and out of this 50, we just have to select 10 employees who will go for the training in Germany, for example. So what we will do, we'll just arrange them in the alphabetical order. Yeah. Okay. And say that we just want to make it very fair enough. What we did, we're going to arrange the alphabetic order of their department. Yeah. So they will be they will be arranged on the basis of the department. Then what we will do, say that there are total 5 departments we have. There are total 5 departments we have, and these 5 departments are, their names are arranged alphabetically. And now what we will do, and there are 10 employees in each department. So what we will do, we'll just randomly select 2 from this, 2 from this, 2 from this, 2 from this, and 2 from this. The selection was random, but still there was some interval. There was some system, and that is called as systematic sampling. Okay, so you have the sample, but you are following any interval. Let me discuss the another example. Say that we have the employees in the company, and we have listed the company, this employee in the alphabetical order. Yeah, and say that, so we have arranged the employees in the alphabetical order. Now, you randomly select a starting point. Say that from the first 10 numbers, you randomly select a starting point, say 6. Yeah, and now from number 6 onwards, every 10th person on the list is going to be selected. So initially you just did the random, say 6. After that, you are saying that every 10th person on the list will be selected. Say that this is 6. Now you will have 16. Now you will have 26. Now you will have 36. Now you will have 46. So on, so forth, according to the number of sample you wish to have. So you see, although in starting you have done with the random, but again you're following any pattern. But I tell you, this same systematic sampling should be used whenever there is no any hidden pattern. This should be used when there is no hidden pattern. If there will be any hidden pattern, then you know what will happen. This sampling will not be worthy, and it may lead to the wrong prediction. Because whenever there will be the hidden pattern, what will happen? Your data might be skewed. Yeah, and just because of the skewness of the sample, what will happen? Your prediction will not be up to the mark. Okay, everyone? Did you got my point? Now, so we have just discussed about the simple random sampling. We have discussed about the systematic sampling. Let's talk about the stratified sampling. So let's talk about the stratified sampling. And here what we will do, say that we have this population. Now what we will do, we will just divide them into some subpopulation. Okay, and this population may differ in different way. So what we'll be doing here, we'll be just dividing this population into different subgroups, and these subgroups are called as what? Strata or strata. Okay, then, and you know, these strata will be on the basis of their any particular characteristic. Okay, that might be on the basis of the gender identity, that might be on the basis of their ages, that might be on the basis of the income. Okay, so now what we will do, based on overall proportion of the population, you will be doing stratified sampling. Yeah, means you will be applying systematic sampling on these strata. Okay, means you have divided this group into subgroup. Now on each subgroup, that is called as strata, you're going to apply systematic sampling. Yeah, you're going to apply the systematic sampling. So means you have done the sampling in the two part. One, where first you have defined the strata. Yeah, and then after in each strata you just apply the systematic sampling. Okay, now suppose say that you have in your company there are 1,000 employees. Okay, out of that 1,000, say 800 are female and only 200 are male. Okay, now this is your responsibility to ensure that this sample will reflect the gender balance. Yeah, your sampling should be reflecting the gender balance. So what you will do, first of all, you will just sort your data. You will sort your population on the basis of two strata. And what is that two strata? One is the female and another is male. Okay, now what you will do, you will just apply systematic sampling, and you will take 80 samples from the female and 20 samples from the male. Okay, so and that will give you the representation of the 100 employees. So that is called as stratified sampling. Okay, now let's talk about the cluster sampling. Any questions so far, everyone? I forgot to ask. Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Then we have the cluster sampling. We have this cluster sampling. So you can say that this cluster sampling will also be a kind of stratified sampling. But you know, here, when you talk about this sampling, each subgroup will have similar characteristics. First thing. Second thing, when we're talking about the similar characteristic, then it will be in accordance to the whole sample. Yeah, not instead of the sampling individual from each subgroup, this will be selected on the basis of the entire subgroup. Okay, for example, if I say you, let's say you have the company who has offices in the 10 cities across the country. Okay, and say that usually all this office or the branch will have more or less same number of employees in the similar roles. So, and you know, you don't have to capacity to travel to every office to collect your data. So what you will do, you will just use random sample. You will just use random sample to select 3 offices. And these 3 offices are what? These 3 offices has been your clustered. And that is called as the cluster sample. But the condition is what? All these subgroups should be similar in nature. Yeah. While when we were talking about the stratified sampling and when we defined the strata, you see that they were not similar. Even when I was talking about the male and female, this strata was not same. Yeah. One is female, another is male. They were having the different features. But now here, all the offices will have same characteristic. Although we have taken 3 strata, but all these 3 strata will have similar characteristic. And that is why it is called as cluster sample. Yeah. So these are what? These are the probability sampling. And you know, the beauty of probability sampling is that each the member will get the equal probability to being selected. Okay, now let's talk about the non-probability sampling. So when we are talking about this non-probability sampling, here, as I told you that when we talk about this non-probability sampling, here the individuals are selected on the basis of certain criteria. That will not on the basis of the probability, it will be on the basis of certain criteria. It means here every individual will not have a equal chance of being included. Yeah. In this non-probability sampling, you cannot say that all the data will have equal chance to get selected. All right. So, although this type of sampling is very easier and cheaper, but this will always have a risk of bias. This will also have a risk of sampling partiality. Yeah, that means the inferences that you will be making out about the population are weaker than in comparison to the probability sampling. And you know, here your conclusion may be limited. So whenever you'll be using a non-probability sample, you should still aim to make it as representative of the population as much as possible. But it's still, you know, it is somewhere says that this is less effective in comparison to the non-probability sampling. Probability sampling. And you know,
Sir,
that
if
is
it
why
is less
when it
effective,
sorry,
sir,
आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
सर मैं बोल रहा था कि अगर ये लेस इफेक्टिव
One second, Sumit, I'm not able to hear you.
हेलो
Yes, Sumit.
सर मैं बोल रहा था कि अगर ये लेस इफेक्टिव है तो इसको हम यूज क्यों करते हैं
इसीलिए एक पॉइंट डाला गया ना सुमित, when to use. आप सुमित समझो. Suppose say that in my company we want some intern. The intern who has knowledge of AI. Who has knowledge of AI. Now in your class, say that 100 students are there. So what is the impartial selection? The impartial selection is where all these 100 students will get equal chance. But I cannot give equal chance to everyone. I'll be partial. I'll be, you know, choosy to choose only those students who has the knowledge of AI, you know. Yeah. So see, whenever you have to take sample, right now depends upon what is your requirement. And that is why when to use it, whenever you'll have a specific criteria, go with non-probability sampling instead of the random sampling, instead of the probability sampling. Okay. And you know, Sumit, in real scenario, what happens? People used to make some balance. People used to make some balance. Even you see that whenever when you have the civil services and you see the list of the civil services test, you will find out that they have tried to balance on the basis of the caste. Although it should not be there. But sampling is done over there. Do you think? Sometimes. Even if you ignore it, then, you know, whenever government make their cabinet ministers, they always try to, you know, satisfy all the caste, all the religion, that yes, I have given the equal opportunity to represent your religion, to represent your caste. And just because of that, what may happen, Sumit? Might be may be a competent leader who has very good quality to take decision to lead the society, but he might not get chance because there must be a person who should be representing the scheduled tribes, because we have already taken two cabinet minister from the general category. Getting my point, Sumit?
Yes, sir.
So sometimes what happens, just to make balance, and you know why just to make balance, might be that if we require three cabinet minister, and out of this three, say that all the three we have taken from the general, so what will happen? He might not be knowing the requirement of this ST. So lot of things are there when you do sampling. Lot of criterias are there, lot of conditions are there. I hope I have answered your question, Sumit.
Yes.
But you know, if you don't have any condition, if you don't have any criteria, if you don't have to make any balance, then if you use this non-probability sampling, then what will happen? Your prediction will not be up to the mark. Okay, and that is why this non-probability sampling is called as what? Exploratory or qualitative research. They are never on the quantitative, they are on the basis of the qualitative. And you know, whenever we talk about this non-probability sampling, in this type of research, the aim is not to test the hypothesis. No, they don't want to just confirm their hypothesis about a broad population. They just want to develop an initial understanding of a small or under-researched population. Yeah. Okay, means I can say that their research is not broad one. The research is narrow one. Okay. And this non-probability sampling, this is why it will be depending upon your criteria. It will be depending upon certain conditions. And when we talk about this non-probability sampling, then this non-probability sampling will be of the, you know, the one is that is called as convenience sampling. Or it might be, you know, voluntary based sampling. Or say that it might be purposive sampling. You know, or it might be on the basis of the snowball sampling. Yeah. Or, you know, it might be a quota sampling. You know, so even this type of non-probability sampling have also answered your question, Sumit, isn't?
Yes, sir.
So, you know, again, just keep in your mind why we are doing this sampling, because we are trying to make some balance. And that might not happen in case of random sampling. That might not happen in case of probability sampling, where we are trying to give the equal probability to each individual. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about the convenience sampling. Yeah. Let's talk about the convenience sampling. So as the name is there, that So right now, you see, I'm just creating the background of whatever is being discussed, is to be discussed. So when we talk about this convenience sampling, so here, what we will do, we will be just taking the sample. It will be including the individual who happens to be there's no any way to tell that the sample is representative of the entire population. So you can say that whenever you'll be using this convenience sampling, you cannot produce the generalized result. Okay, you cannot produce the generalized result, and that is why this convenience sampling will always be having a problem of sampling bias and this selection bias. Okay, for example, you know that say that you're just trying to have some opinion about the student support services in your university. Yeah, you just want to have the student support services in your university, and just for this, after each of your class, you ask your fellow students to complete a survey on the topic. Yeah, and you know, this is the convenient way to gather the data, but as you only surveyed the students on the same classes, as well as at the same label. So this sample will not be representing the entire problem of the students. Yeah, even suppose you are in the mechanical engineering department, okay, and you just created a survey form, and you just told your colleague, you just told your friends to fill this form in the same class, but you have not visited, you have not requested to the student of the other departments. Do you think that it will be actually covering the entire representation? So obviously not. Yeah, obviously not. Okay, so this is the convenience sampling. Okay, this is the convenience sampling. Now, let's talk about the voluntary response sampling. So when we are talking about the voluntary response survey, sampling, so this voluntary response sampling is what? It is also similar to a convenience sample. Here, instead of, you are choosing the participants, you're directly contacting them, and people will volunteer themselves. Yeah. So, whenever this voluntary response samples will be talking about, it will always somewhat biased, because there will be some people will inherently be more likely to volunteer than and this might be you can consider your class itself. There are two kind of people, one are extrovert and another is introvert. And suppose activity, we need some volunteer. We need some, even though introvert student who is very brilliant, who is very intelligent in this particular task, but because of, less capable to express himself, what may happen? He will not be getting chance, and this extrovert might grab this chance by representing himself self-voluntarily. Yeah, and just because of that, what will happen? The quality of the work will suffer. The quality of work will be suffer, and this is because of what? This is because of the self-selection bias. Yeah, might be the problem into which you are working. If this introvert people would have assigned, then he would have come up with the better result instead of this extrovert. I hope you understand, everyone. Now let's talk about the purposive sampling. So when we talk about the purposive sampling, then this purposive sampling is what? It is actually, this purposive sampling is also known as judgmental sampling. Yeah. So here, again, what happens? It involves the researcher using their expertise to select a sample that is most useful to the purpose of the research. Okay, for example, say that I just want a student coordinator pertaining to the sports. So obviously what I'll do, I'll just select, I'll just take only those students who are very good at the sport. Yeah. In the same way, if I have to conduct a gaming competition, say that PUBG game competition in my college, then what I'll do, I'll just make the team of those students who are very good in the gaming. Yeah. So here, this is called as purposive sampling, where the sample was created on the basis of certain on the basis of certain reason. Okay, and it is often used in this qualitative research where your researcher wants to gain detailed knowledge about a specific phenomena. Yeah, so rather than making a statistical inferences, here the population will be very small and specific. And whenever you make this inclusion and exclusion criteria, that what kind of data needs to be included and what kind of data needs to be excluded. Okay. Now, the next topic is what? It is called a snowball. It is called a snowball sampling. You know, when we this snowball sampling is what? Let's if you want to do the snowball sampling, then so snowball sampling, huh? Actually, this snowball sampling is used whenever your population is hard to access. Yeah, here, whenever your population is hard to access, you can use this snowball sampling, and this snowball sampling can be used to recruit the participants via other participants. Yeah. On the basis of the one data, we can some more people. And here, the downside is that also representative that as you have no way of knowing how representative your sample is due to the reliance on participants with others. And here, suppose that you have recruited 4 people and you have that 90 people,